Hello, epic viewers from around the multiverse. Prepare to bask in unprecedented glory, because today I'm going to shed light on the tragic story of how my sister destroyed $2,000 worth of my property in the form of Resin statues and Lord of the Rings statues. So what transpired, you may ask, without further ado, without further delay, without further procrastination, not only due to demystify the answer to that inquiry right here, right now. Unfortunately, to my dismay, there was nothing that I could have done to avert nor preclude this calamitous dire predicament from transpiring. My sister was agitated. She was irritated that my mother packed away the utensils, and she couldn't get my mother's utensils. She didn't have access to them. She had to utilize another family member's utensils, and because of this, because she couldn't get the spoon she wanted, she was disgruntled, infuriated, and imbued with anger. She took the anger out on my statues, unbeknownst to her. When she was smashing my 6 to 7 boxes on the ground that contained my statues, she likely didn't know that they housed and contained my resin statues. So these resin statues took me quite a long time to get. I needed to earn 5 to 6 million video views on my YouTube channel in the past in order to afford to buy these statues, and these statues are limited edition, so it's arduous to stumble upon them on eBay. And if you are fortunate enough to come across them, you'll likely have to succumb to paying a staggering, exorbitant, hefty premium price in order to afford to buy them, since collectors are unwilling to part with their statues for reasonable prices. So let me just show some of the statues she vandalized. This event was quite agonizing, to say the least. Everything that you work hard for, everything that you spend years of your life slaving away for, can be decimated, shattered, vandalized in a picosecond. So I detest and disdain that I live with an individual who can't control their anger, and who takes it out on my property. She had no right to vandalize my property. She had no right to vandalize my property. She has zero compunction. She has zero remorse, and it's just completely sadistic and heartless and malicious. If she couldn't get the spoon she wanted to from my mother, that doesn't give her the right to vandalize and completely decimate $2,000 worth of my property. And replacing these Resin Star Wars statues and Resin Lord of the Rings statues will be a nightmare, because they're limited edition, and people who possess these statues are unlikely to sell them. And if they are willing to part with them, then the price that I'm going to have to concede to rebuy them is going to be a fortune. One of the boxes she smashed may have contained my lot of Batman Arkham City action figures turned out by DC Direct, and that lot I recollect paying roughly $600 for. So she vandalized at least $2,000 worth of property that day, and it happened in mere seconds. It's too bad that some people can't control their anger and cope with their anger by vandalizing other people's property. The initiation of aggression is never vindicated. So these animated statues are known as maquettes, or animaquettes. Let me just show some of them real briefly. I'll show the ones that she vandalized. Now, I didn't check the contents of the boxes after she smashed them on the floor, because I was extremely pressed for time due to an impending move. But I did mark them, and I'll have to check them when I get the chance. They're in the storage unit, but the statues are very likely shattered everywhere, and it's a mess dealing with resin that's shattered and broken. So let's get this up real briefly. Just bear with me. Hold on. Okay, so as you can see, we have some Lord of the Rings maquettes. I have this Nazgul statue. That was one that she likely vandalized, as well as this Gimli one. That one's likely destroyed from her savagery. I never had the Saruman. I had the Gandalf statue. That was likely shattered to pieces. This really agitates me and stresses me out. This is why I waited months to create this video, you know, okay? And, I didn't notice this lot. These are all that are listed under, Lord of the Rings maquettes. Let's see sold listings. I do have more Lord of the Rings maquettes, or I should say I had more prior to the advent of her destroying my property. See, the ones that I have are not even listed on the site. I have the Legolas one, the Gimli one. Those are listed. What other ones do I have? I have the Nazgul one. I have the Twilight Ring race, which is a maquette of the Witch King. I don't see a listing for that here. I have the Gandalf one. And there may be one more that I have. I'm trying to think what it is. The only one that I was missing was a Saruman one. I never bought that one. So my collection is technically incomplete if my statues were intact, but they likely are shattered everywhere. And distraught has unequivocally ensued. So those are the statues. Those are some of the statues she vandalized. She also vandalized a Resin Magneto statue. I'll get to that in a bit. Let me just showcase the Lord of the Rings ones first. So let's look at Star Wars maquettes. Now these maquettes have an animated theme to them. So they're anime maquettes. And I just love the animated aesthetics. They're quite unique. Now I did have this statue. This one's probably shattered to pieces. I don't believe I retained the original box. For two of my statues, I retained the original boxes. Those two statues are likely intact, but the Yoda one, I doubt that I retained the original box for. So that one's likely shattered. Now this one, unfortunately, to my dismay, I no longer have the original box for, and she very, very, very likely shattered this one. Now this one's limited to 2,500 units. My statues are pretty much limited anywhere from 300 to, I guess, roughly 3,000 units. I think some of them are limited to 300 units, but it may be more, maybe closer to 3,000. But yet again, Lord of the Rings statues appeal to more of a niche market. So those are the two Star Wars maquettes I had. I also had a Magneto statue, as well as a Professor X statue. The Magneto statue I had was hovering. I have this Magneto statue. It's limited to 3,500 pieces. So this one is likely completely shattered. And my Professor X statue I have, based on the Jim Lee design, is likely completely shattered as well. So this is the exact one I have. And I presume that she destroyed this one. You know, I do pack everything rapidly, and I try to package everything to minimize the damage that it would succumb to amid the move. I try to package everything so that it would be properly safeguarded amid the move. I try to package everything so that it would be diligently packaged and amply wrapped. But there's only so much you could do to prevent your statues from shattering when someone takes your boxes and smashes them on the floor with momentum and force and does this so in a malicious manner as hard as they possibly can. So I hope that my contention here has a lot of gravitas and resonates with you. No one should initiate aggression against others nor their property. It's always unvindicated, it's always unwarranted, it's always unjustified, and it's always uncalled for. Everything should be based off voluntary, peaceful transactions. And everything should be consensual. I wanted this statue, I never had this one. So she to recapitulate, she likely completely decimated at least 6 of my statues. My Lord of the Rings Ring Wraith maquette, my Lord of the Rings Twilight Ring Wraith maquette, my Gimli statue, my Gandalf statue, my Magneto statue, my Yoda statue are likely shattered, and my Professor X statue may be shattered, and also my Jedi statue of Korab of Korab is likely ravaged as well. I'm surprised that this maquette is $40. It's a lower price than the price I recollect paying for it. So, and of course the Batman Arkham City action figures I just want to show you guys real briefly. In conjunction with ravaging and shattering and destroying and vandalizing my Star Wars, Marvel, and Lord of the Rings statues, the box that she slammed on the floor as hard as she possibly could was full of momentum, likely contained my lot of Batman Arkham City, Batman Arkham Knight, and other DC collectible action figures. Let me see if we can find a lot real quick. I'll just show you how expensive they are and what they look like when consolidated together. So if you go to sold listings, you can look at these lots. I had almost a complete collection grouped together in one lot of the Batman Arkham Asylum, of the Batman Arkham Asylum, Batman Arkham City, and Batman Arkham Knight action figures. So it will look something like this, but with close to 30 figures. That sounds about right, or 40, somewhere within that range. So it just sucks. She never apologized once. She's not apologetic, and she has no qualms about vandalizing and decimating my property, even though I don't touch her property. So there's nothing I can do. I have no recourse, and she'll likely never pay me back. And I just hope that I don't have to ever live with sadistic family members when I can afford housing. So it is what it is. I just hope that she could be peaceful towards other people's property in the future, and I hope that she can control her anger and not vandalize someone else's property when she's angry at someone else. It doesn't make any sense. So I hope that you found this video to be fascinating and enthralling. Have a wonderful, marvelous day. Goodbye.